Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to this morning's stretch break, first stretch break of today. We are going to be starting off on the ground. If you do at any point have any suggestions or certain parts of your body that are tight that you would like to work on, feel free to drop that in the chat whenever you would like. But we're going to go ahead and get started on the ground. Hamstrings. Okay, well, we can definitely do some hamstring stuff today. Okay, so let's first start off on the ground. Hips, low back. Okay, perfect. I got you guys. Don't worry. We'll get all the hips and hamstrings and low back things going. So we're going to start off on the ground with our legs crossed like this. And we're going to start off with a few side stretches before we end up on our back for some other hamstring and hip opening things. So we're going to go ahead and place one hand off to the side. So I'm going to take my right hand right now, and I'm going to reach over my head with my left hand. So I'm going to end up putting my elbow on the ground to get more of a deep stretch here. But if that's a little bit more uncomfortable for you, you can be a little bit taller up. So we're just going to sit here for a second, really reaching towards that opposite wall that you're facing, and we should start to feel that stretch down through our side, through the side of the low back here. And on the next exhale, we're going to switch over to the other side. So same thing, hand or elbow on the ground, reaching overhead. Again, doing what is most comfortable for you today. You may feel more of a stretch on one side than the other. That is okay. For me, I feel it really much on both sides because my sides and my low back are very tight right now too. So this feels very good opening up the lats here. And on the next exhale, we're going to go back to the other side. So we're going to do one more on each side, really opening up our side body here. Nice big deep breaths. If you inhale into your stomach here, it's going to help open up the low back a little bit more. So if your low back is tight, breathing into the belly will help here. If you feel more tightness in your upper back and your chest, go ahead and inhale a little bit deeper into that chest. So aiming that breath to feel where you are tight, and exhale, breathing into the stretch here. And on the next exhale, going back over to the other side. Do this side one more time. Feels so nice. It's a great way to wake up the body, start the day off with some nice stretching. Really making sure we're opening up here through the chest, keeping our shoulder blades down and away from the ears. I don't want to be scrunching up here. All right, and on the next exhale, we'll return to center. And from here, we're going to go ahead and go onto our back. So we will start off with a nice hamstring stretch. So we'll put one leg flat on the ground, and the other leg, we're going to interlace our fingers and grab behind our knee. So we're really going to kind of pull a little bit closer to our chest here. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the quad and extend the knee up and straighten that leg out while squeezing your quad. Hold for a few seconds, and we're going to go ahead and release that. So this is a nice active hamstring stretch. Squeeze in the quad, extending the leg, and back down. If you want a little bit of extra stretch in your hamstring and your calf, go ahead and point that heel up towards the ceiling. It's really going to help us engage that a little bit more. We really want to focus on squeezing the quad to help that hamstring relax a little bit more. And we're going to go ahead and do one more wherever you're at, squeezing that quad, pointing the heel towards the ceiling, back down. Let's go ahead and move over to the other leg. So same thing, interlacing those fingers behind the knee. And we're going to squeeze the quad, extend the knee, heel towards the ceiling, and back down. The focus here, really squeezing that quad is going to help us release that hamstring a little bit more. Sometimes we don't really necessarily want to stretch out our hamstrings as much as we want to just loosen up the muscles in the front of our legs to kind of help break up that tissue in the back of the leg. hamstrings are definitely going to need some attention later because I did lots of RDLs this morning. And we're going to go ahead and do last one wherever you're at here. Squeeze in the quad, heel towards the ceiling, and back down. Perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and do a nice piriformis stretch. This will help kind of open up the back of the hip and the front of the hip a little bit too, in turn, and kind of stretch out our low back by bringing our knee to our chest. So we're going to go ahead and cross one leg. So my right leg is up, crossed right under my left knee at the ankle. And from here, if that's enough of a stretch for you, go ahead and stay there. But if you need a little bit extra of a stretch, go ahead and interlace your fingers and place them behind the knee, just like we just were for that hamstring stretch. And you also can grab your shin if you need a little extra, but we really want to focus on pulling that knee towards our chest until we start to feel that stretch on the outside of our hip or right under the glutes. So this will help open up the front of the hips. I know my hip flexor, especially on my right side, gets really tight, and this really will help open it up a lot. And that will kind of loosen things up in the backs of our legs. That's what they're called. And we're going to go ahead and really make sure we're inhaling deeply into the belly, letting that open up our low backs, open up the fronts, and opens up the hips of everything. And on your next exhale, we will release this leg, place it on the ground, placing the right leg back on the ground, and move into the other side. So we are crossing our leg, ankle right below the knee. And again, if that's a good stretch for you, go ahead and stay there. If you need a little more, go ahead and interlace your fingers and either grab behind the knee or in front of the shin, whatever is available to you today. Nice, big, deep inhales. Sometimes it's hard to focus on the breathing when we really feel the stretch. But we really want to breathe into that tightness here today and always. Nice, big, deep belly breaths in through the nose, slowly exhaling through the mouth, feeling our body relax, feeling our nice piriformis relax. And we're going to do one more big inhale. And a nice, long, slow exhale. And we will put that foot back on the ground and then our other foot. And for the last part of the stretch break, we're going to make our way to standing. So get up however you need to. And we're going to work a little bit more on the hamstrings and the low back here. So once we're standing up, should we take our time so we're not getting a head rush here? We're going to go into a nice forward fold. So kind of inhale, and on the exhale, bringing our hands towards the ground. We can have a slight bend in the knees. That's going to really help us feel that stretch in the hamstrings here. And what we're going to do is, if you, like me, can touch the ground pretty easily, you can go ahead and grab your elbows, and we're really just going to let our heads and our shoulders hang here. So my back, I just felt a nice crack in the middle of my back from doing this. So really with each exhale, relaxing further into the ground, feeling more of a hamstring stretch here. And from here, we're going to go ahead and take our hands and we're going to move to one side to kind of help stretch out our sides a little bit more. So I'm going to first walk my hands over to the left, reaching as far as I can. We should start to feel that a little bit in our side and our low back here. And in the hamstring still as well.
Yeah, let's go ahead and walk our hands over to the other side. Same thing, start to feeling that stretch in our side and in our low back. A little bit. You need to walk your hands out further, that might help. I'm not feeling as much on this side, and that's okay. My left side's not as tight as my right side. And walk those hands back into the middle. And from here, we're going to slowly roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Oh, we get to the top.
Do one big shoulder roll. Wow, words. What are they? I don't know. Apparently it's still early for me. And that will conclude the morning stretch break. Thank you all so much for coming. Don't forget, we do have another stretch break at 2:30 today. So I hope to see everyone there. We do also have boot camp with Luis tomorrow at 12 and another stretch with Brittany at 3. And we do right now have our form up on our SharePoint site to go ahead and sign up for a group workout with your team or a group stretch break with your team. So we can come to a meeting, do some stretches with you before you get started. So we do have a form, again, it's up on our SharePoint site. And then you can fill that out and we will help you out with all of that. So we will hopefully see you all later today at 2:30 at the next stretch break. But thank you all for coming this morning.